These democratic socialists at another of their conventions, they were told to make jazz hands instead of clapping, lest some delegates suffer sensory overload. And also, and I'm not joking, they were told not to be wearing, any aggressive scent.
Please don't go into that space with anything that's like an aggressive scent, for instance, right? Because that's going to be difficult for people.
Oh, for sake. This is who the Democrats are thinking of following, city-run grocery stores? No, I don't want that. I want a Democrat who reassures me if you like your Whole Foods, you can keep your Whole Foods.
Bill Maher has never been shy about criticizing his own political side. But this time his comments felt even more intense. The outspoken comedian sharply criticized Democrats, warning that some of their recent political moves could seriously damage the party's future. Known for his blunt humor and brutal honesty, Maher didn't hold back as he delivered his criticism.
You don't see it right away and go along, you're bad, stupid, and deplorable. As if you were saying, duh, 2 + 2 = 5, isn't that obvious? Yeah, it's obvious you can't add. You can't just say math is racist. Healthy at any weight? If the men's football team played the women's team, it would be a top. You can't just say.
Maher openly challenged the growing woke mindset he believes is spreading within his party. He argued that Democrats can no longer make trendy political statements and expect automatic support. Today, every claim is examined, fact-checked, and publicly debated. According to Maher, voters are paying closer attention than ever before. When politicians stretch the truth or ignore obvious contradictions, people notice. Pretending something is true doesn't make it real. It simply makes leaders appear disconnected from reality. And once a party loses credibility, it risks losing elections as well.
Is like a dating profile. Things look great until you meet up in the real world. For example, Bernie Sanders, his big thing was always bringing single-payer health care to our country of 340 million. But when liberal, tie-dyed Vermont tried to do it for a population of 626,000, it collapsed like that poor in the Oval Office last week. Bernie, AOC, Mandani are not Democrats. They'll be the first to tell you that. They're democratic socialists, and that's a very different thing, and I don't think people know that.
Maher also criticized what he sees as the Democratic Party's increasing embrace of socialist rhetoric in candidates. He pointed to polling data showing that about 66% of Democrats now view socialism positively, while only 42% feel the same about capitalism. Maher warned that such a shift could push the party into politically dangerous territory. Many Americans remain skeptical of socialism, and openly promoting it could alienate moderate voters while giving political opponents an easy line of attack.
People realize we already have a lot of socialism. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, unemployment insurance, food stamps, veterans benefits, Pell Grants, COVID-era payments, farm subsidies, disability payments, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, corporate bailouts, and the jobs program that is building weapons the Pentagon doesn't even want. All that is socialism. Much of it appropriate to soften the edges of capitalism, but the DSA are radicals about this concept, and radical economic policy is always ineluctably married to radical social policy. Their platform, for example, calls for completely open borders. They're for what Biden was doing, but more. You think you're going to win an election on...
At the same time, Maher acknowledged that the United States already relies on several government-supported systems, such as Social Security, Medicare, public schools, and emergency services. These programs represent shared investment in society and provide important benefits. However, Maher cautioned against pushing the party's identity too heavily toward socialist ideology. Doing so, he argued, could scare moderate voters and create unnecessary political risks.
Either defund police or military in the streets. Either MAGA's crypto crony capitalism or city-run grocery stores. No, I don't want that. I want a Democrat who reassures me if you like your Whole Foods, you can keep your Whole Foods. Governor-elect Vanberger once said about Biden's presidency that, quote, nobody elected him to be FDR. They elected him to be normal. Normal! You know, at this year's DSA convention, or as it's commonly known, Comic-Con, Get this, you had to submit a photo of a negative COVID test to get it.
What concerns Maher most is the combination of strong ideological messaging and activist-driven politics within the Democratic Party. He believes that focusing too heavily on cultural debates and ideological purity tests pulls the party away from the political center. In many elections, the center is where victory is decided. When political messaging focuses more on signaling virtue than solving real problems, voters can quickly lose interest or even walk away entirely.
That there are two pillars that this country is founded on. One is democracy, and one is capitalism, free markets. And it seems like one party wants to get rid of one, and the other party wants to get rid of the other. Right? The Republicans are not that, democracy is just not number one on their list. It just isn't. It isn't. It's behind Christianity and a few other things. And the Democrats, I mean, I read these, 74% are for democratic socialism. Only 16% favor capitalism. Is this going to be a country that I don't recognize in 5 to 10 years if we don't have these two pillars?
Maher also pushed back against constant warnings that democracy itself is about to collapse. In his view, the real political danger lies in a party drifting too far from the voters it needs to win elections. He pointed again to polling showing growing support for socialist ideas among Democrats, warning that this trend could reshape the party's direction in unpredictable ways and potentially elevate more openly socialist candidates.
Democrats going with this. If Mondami is the face of the Democrats on the East Coast and Katie Porter is the face on the West Coast, I don't know if that's great politically for that.
Maher made his position clear. If Democrats continue moving in this direction, the political consequences could be serious. Outside of heavily Democratic cities and activist communities, many Americans still remain cautious about socialism as a governing system. For many people, capitalism, despite its flaws, still represents opportunity and the ability to succeed through effort and innovation.
These democratic socialists at another of their conventions, they were told to make jazz hands instead of clapping, lest some delegates suffer sensory overload. And also, and I'm not joking, they were told not to be wearing, any aggressive scent.
Please don't go into that space with anything that's like an aggressive scent, for instance, right? Because that's going to be difficult for...
In the end, Maher said he is frustrated with what he sees as excessive focus on woke politics and symbolic gestures inside the Democratic Party. He believes too much attention is given to internal approval and viral messaging, while everyday voter concerns such as jobs, safety, and affordability receive less attention. His warning is simple. If Democrats continue prioritizing internal applause over broader public trust, they may face serious political setbacks in future elections. And with that, today's discussion comes to an end. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this.